Hi, this is David from Cubby. I'm here to show you Cubby, our first application for Apple's iPhone and iPod Touch. We created Cubby to be a quick and easy way to track your mileage for tax deduction or reimbursement. Let's get started by adding a new trip. One of the first things you'll notice is that there's a lot of information that you can track using Cubby. Don't worry though, we made Cubby quite clever. After you've completed your first entry, Cubby will enter a lot of information automatically. You can also leave out any information that isn't important to you. The first thing to enter is purpose and destination. Let's say you're dropping a package off at FedEx. When typing information on the keyboard, keep in mind that we've enabled the Next and Done buttons on the bottom right of the keyboard to speed things up. Next, let's select a tag. Tags allow you to quickly group trips according to a particular client, project, or anything else you'd like to track. I've already entered a few sample tags here. Let's say you're dropping the package off for your team and it was related to Project Alpha. Now for the odometer. We spent a lot of time making sure that entering an odometer reading would be quick and easy. For the very first trip, you'll have to start from scratch, but from then on, Cubby will remember your last odometer reading. This makes entry a breeze. Cubby also does the math for you. Enter any 2 readings, and it will calculate the third. For this first trip, we'll assume you're headed out the door and don't know how far it is to your destination. Categorizing your trip is easy. It defaults to business, but a quick tap will not only update the category, but also the deduction rate. We set the default rates to the current IRS standards, but you can set your own defaults in settings, or manually edit any trip. For those of you who submit your mileage for reimbursement, we've made it easy to track which trips have been paid and which remain unpaid. Since most people don't need to track multiple drivers or multiple vehicles, feel free to leave this information blank. If you do enter a driver and a vehicle, Cubby will remember these values and automatically enter them each time you create a new trip. For those who need to track multiple drivers or vehicles, this is a lifesaver, and we've tried to make it as easy as possible to enter this information. You'll notice that the start time is already filled in. Whenever you create a new trip, Cubby automatically enters the current time. When you complete a trip by entering the end odometer reading or total distance, the end time will automatically be entered. If you have to go back in time and add a few forgotten trips, it's easy to edit the timestamp. We've included a couple of extra fields here at the bottom in case you have any reimbursable expenses along the way or need to leave yourself or your accountant a detailed note. Let's go ahead and save this trip. Now that we're back to the main view, you'll notice that our first trip is showing up as incomplete. If you click on a trip, it'll take you to the trip detail view. This trip doesn't have values for odometer end or distance. Any trip that doesn't have these values will show up on the main view as incomplete. Let's edit this trip to add an odometer end value. Notice that the odometer end picker has defaulted to the value of odometer start. This makes it really easy to add odometer values. As you edit the odometer end value, the distance is automatically calculated. Now that we completed the trip, the end time was automatically entered. Since package drops to FedEx are made quite often, let's go ahead and add this trip to frequent trips. Now that we've entered our first trip and have saved a frequent trip, data entry is going to be a snap. Let's go ahead and add a second trip now. Let's say it's the afternoon and you've got another package to drop at FedEx. Just hit the frequent trips button and select the frequent trip you'd like to use. The data has automatically been filled in, but you can still edit anything that may be unique to this particular trip. Let's say that this second package was for Project Beta instead of Project Alpha. Now that we have a reference for the odometer value, that's really easy to update as well. I'll fast forward a little bit while I add a few extra trips to show you how easy it is to search, sort, and email a report. Now that a few more trips have been added, let's take a look at some of the searching and sorting options. To change the way trips are sorted in the main view, just tap the Options button on the bottom left. You can sort by date, distance, or alphabetically. You can also set the sort order to be ascending or descending. Keep in mind that the top of the screen is a reference point, so selecting descending will put the largest value or most recent date at the top of the list. To delete a record, tap the Edit button on the bottom right, then tap the red button next to the row you'd like to delete, and confirm by tapping the Delete button. We're working on a way to delete several trips at a time. This feature should be ready soon and will be a free upgrade. To quickly view all unpaid trips, just tap the Unpaid button on the bottom toolbar. You can also tap the Paid button to view all trips that have been paid. Keep in mind that this button will remain selected until you select something else. If you just added a trip and don't see it in the list, make sure that you have All selected on the toolbar. We developed some really handy search capabilities for TripCubby. To activate search mode, tap the Search button on the top left. There are several things to notice while in search mode. First, the Add Trip button in the top right has changed to an Export button. You can export the search results at any time while in search mode. Another thing you'll notice is that all the buttons on the bottom toolbar still function. You can change the sort order, filter by paid or unpaid, and even delete records while in search mode. To do a text search, just tap in the search field and start typing. You can hide the keyboard at any time by tapping the search button on the keyboard. While text searching will be handy in some situations, advanced search is where the real power lies. Tap on the More button to access advanced search. Here you can set multiple criteria for filtering your trips. Let's say you need to generate a mileage report for Project Alpha. Just tap on Tags and select Project Alpha. Now, only trips that have been tagged with Project Alpha will show up in the search results. You'll notice that the More button is now blue. This lets you know that you have selected an option in advanced search and that the search results are being filtered. To disable advanced search, just tap the More button again and tap the big red Remove Filters button. Now let's email a report. Let's say it's the end of the month and you need to send the company accountant a list of all unpaid trips. Just tap the Unpaid button and tap the Export button. You can type in an email address manually or select one from your address book. Once you've sent your first email, TripCubby will automatically fill in the To field with the last email address you used. Now for a subject, and send. In just seconds, you should see an email from reports@tripcubby.com. If you don't see an email within a few minutes, you may need to check your spam folder. We never send any form of spam or unsolicited email from AppCubby, but some spam filters are a bit overzealous and will place your report in the spam folder. Check with your email provider about how to make sure your reports get right through to your inbox. The report email will have your trips listed and totaled within the message, and will also have an Excel-compatible file attached. Now let's take a look at settings. Within settings, you can change the unit to miles or kilometers, and also set the default deduction rates. Thanks for taking the time to learn about TripCubby. If you have any additional questions or need technical support, please visit our website at appcubby.com.